Since the beginning of the Western Kendama scene, videos and edits have been vital pillars of the community. Some players use them to present their skills and creativity, others create unique narratives and storylines. Among the most outstanding media artists out there is George Marshall. A talented player and editor, George has embedded his name into the highest ranks of Kendama filmmaking. His creativity and presentation of Kendama as an art and lifestyle is simply unmatched, leaving an everlasting impression with his viewers and the community as a whole. So let's dive into the extravagant yet humble mind behind many beloved Kendama edits, as I'm Daniel with Sweets Kendamas, and these are 25 facts about George Marshall. Number 1. George Elias Marshall was born March 1st, 1998 in Minneapolis, Minnesota. He lived in Minneapolis up until he graduated high school, at which point he moved to Colorado and attended University of Colorado Boulder. He has also lived in Atlanta, Georgia, and currently lives in Seattle, Washington. Number 2. During his time in college, George achieved a major in technology, arts, and media. The pathway to this degree and eventual career all began with his interest in Kendama. He started making videos his sophomore year of high school after getting a GoPro to film his own tricks. After upgrading to a nicer camera, he honed in on his editing craft and began to stand out in the scene through his media skills and overall presentation of Kendama. Number 3. George works for Overtime as a motion graphics editor, with his projects primarily focused on motion graphics, long-form editing, and promotional ads. His work has even reached streaming services such as Amazon Prime, so if you've ever seen this, then you've seen some of George's work. Number 4. Along with being widely known as an extremely talented video editor, George has had a prolific Kendama career and has made his way to the podium on multiple occasions. He placed 4th at the 2015 Kendama World Cup and 3rd at the North American Kendama Open that same year. Followed that up with another KWC Finals appearance in 2018, a 2nd place Open podium at the 2019 Battle at the Border, and, unsurprisingly, 4 different awards for the 2021 New Year New Edit video contest, and it would be safe to say that Marshall has made an impressive mark on the competitive scene. Number 5. George has been a sponsored player for Sweets Kendamas since 2015. He received this opportunity as the result of a secret inside deal made within Sweets Kendamas at the 2015 Kendama World Cup. As explained by George, Lucas and I were unsponsored. We were just shop boys who got to stay with the team. They made a deal, without Lucas and I's knowledge, that they'd add us to Homegrown if we placed top 5. A few years later, George received his first pro model and later released several iterations. Number 6. While he has proven skillful in virtually all trick categories, George identifies tray flips and typhoons as a few of his favorites. Number 7. On the other hand, some of George's least favorite tricks are, well, anything string related, including goons and pinches. Despite that, he will always learn at least some entry-level technique to any trick. Number 8. George's skill toy abilities are not tethered to Kendama exclusively. Prior to discovering Kendama, George was already into juggling and other general skill toys like Rubik's Cube. It should come as no surprise that he adapted to Kendama quickly given his prior experience with this type of hobby. Number 9. If you've ever heard of the game Hyper Toss, then you may have seen a familiar face in one of their commercials. George was featured in this 2016 promotion along with fellow Kendama players Haley Bischoff and Jake Fisher. Number 10. When was the last time you used a spork? If you ask George, it might have been today. George has an expansive spork collection that he accidentally started in 2018. He noticed that he had 3 sporks in a drawer at home and figured it was a good start to a collection. The rest is history. Number 11. George's drink of choice would be a hazy IPA. No specific brand, but the hazier, the better. Number 12. We all have everyday items, and George's include this, and all of these. Number 13. George's favorite Kendamas of all time are the Sour Mash Candy Stripe Custom and the Full Maple Homegrown. Number 14. George often forgets tricks that he has already filmed. There have been several occasions where he dedicates time to a certain trick or combo, only to later discover that he had already filmed it, sometimes years prior. Number 15. It should come as no surprise that George is a fan of cinema. Some of his favorite films of all time are City of God, Into the Spider-Verse, and Fantastic Mr. Fox. Number 16. Even the most upstanding citizens can find themselves in a bit of a pickle from time to time. The normally law-abiding George has been to jail for 4 days due to a peculiar speeding ticket debacle. The details about this story are just insane, so click the link in the description below to find out more. Number 17. George has traveled to plenty of parts of the world, but his favorite trip took place in 2023. It was a month-long journey across Europe that started in Leiden for the European Kendama Championship, followed by other destinations including parts of France and Italy. Number 18. George's favorite album is Pixel Bath by Gene Dawson, and some of his other favorite musical artists are JPEG Mafia, Brockhampton, and Hippocampus. He says that while he enjoys a wide array of music, he tends to hyperfixate on specific artists and sounds for periods of time. He finds the overall music industry a fascinating topic, and would indulge more if it weren't for these hyperfixation tendencies. Number 19. Hyperfixation has been a common theme throughout George's life. While at times it has proven to be challenging, he has discovered ways to channel it, like learning a new craft or collecting various objects, such as the aforementioned sporks, vinyls, cameras, and New Balance sneakers. Number 20. When George was first learning Kendama, he formed a local team named SWKT, which stood for Southwest Kendama Team. The original members included Lucas, Isaac, Finn, Will, and of course, George. He attributes many of his early jumps in skill to playing with this group, and he remains friends with all of them to this day. Number 21. While many Kendama players prefer a high-intensity competitive atmosphere at events, George prefers a more laid-back approach. His ideal competition would have an extremely relaxed atmosphere. He was able to make this a reality by hosting the Georgia Rooftop Jam during his time in Atlanta. Number 22. Some of George's favorite Kendama edits include Cooper Eddy Edit 3, Chris Bosch Edit 3, Kendamako Battle in Seattle 2014, and Sweets Japan 2015. Number 23. George puts his finger in the tama hole before pulling up to stilt. He developed the technique naturally as a means to secure his tama position and act as an alternative tracking option for the incoming stilt. Number 24. Like all of us, George has his own pet peeves. Among the more Kendama-centric is groups of players playing too hard in quiet or public places. George offers some advice. If you're in line at a cafe or a museum, choose stalls over taps. Number 25. George's contributions to Kendama have transitioned from taking nearly top 3 in the world to focusing more on the artistry that lies in its presentation and interpretation. Here is his general mindset while playing. I try not to force anything. I play hard when I'm feeling it, but if I'm not feeling it, I won't go hard on myself. Maybe I'll be out with a friend and want to grind 6-tap, and other times I'll go 5 days without it. I just don't force it.